shoot.
I like that very, very well. I appreciate the microphone movement. So I haven't seen you since, I guess, the Watchmen junket. So what's been going on since then? What have you been up to?
Since the Watchmen junket, well, which was slightly okay. Well, it's been good actually. I mean, as I was saying to you a little bit earlier on, I mean, I was busy, and I finished that, and then obviously this came along, and then I've been off doing a romantic comedy with Amy Adams, which was fun. Great director, Anand Tucker, playing a surly Irish innkeeper, and then working with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant on their first film together, directing, which was great. And then since then, just being a dad.
I was at Shepperton for Clash of the Titans, and no, I went for Chat Room. For the movie Chat Room, and then for
at the same time,
and for Clash, and I saw the set. I walked by the stage where Cemetery Junction was, and was practically trying to, like, I was almost knocking on the door, being like, "Please let me in and see this," but it didn't happen for me.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's a fantastic, really, really great script. I think very different to stuff that they've done before, and they've got quite brave, like 3 complete and real newcomers, I think, playing the lead roles, and then it's myself and Emily Watson and Ray Fiennes and a bunch of fantastic British actors sort of fleshing the rest of the cast out. So it should be good. It was a lot of fun to do.
I interviewed Ricky in Toronto, and he said that he specifically went for Unknowns, and that it's like a coming-of-age story in the 70s, like how to get out. I mean, I think is what he told me.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, he I don't know if he's sort of joking around, because there's definitely essence of it, which is true, which is it's going to be his sort of Saturday Night Fever, but in England.
That's what he said.
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday Night Fever in England.
Yeah.
Did he, when he approached you? What's funny is I meant to talk about this movie, but let's just fucking talk about Cemetery Junction real quick. Yeah. Did he approach you with that, saying, "I'm making my Saturday Night Fever"?
No, he didn't really. I mean, he sent the script, and I really enjoyed it, and then I just got an offer, which is always, fantastic to happen, and which made being on set for the first couple of weeks or first couple of days a little bit uncomfortable, because I didn't really know. We didn't know each other very well, and so we did a bit of rehearsal, and it all sort of went into place. But there's a real sense of this is something quite special. I thought when we were doing it, and very different, and I think it'll be. I hope it'll be as good as I thought it was. Anyway.
He's famous for laughing at people and ruining takes.
Yes.
And did that happen to you?
Yeah, it does happen, and then you hear him guffawing in the background, which is great as an actor, because you kind of think, well, at least I'm doing the right thing. But then, conversely, when it doesn't happen, you're like, I'm obviously not doing it right. But I know, but him and Stephen are so much fun to work with, or work for. So yeah, it was good.
Last question: did you film at Shepperton for that movie?
We did. We were on location in some places all around London, and then and Shepperton was the studio they used, which is great. I'd never filmed there before, so it was nice. So sort of like Ealing Studios has its own history, Pinewood has its own history, and so now to have a bit of Shepperton was always pretty good.
Now, when you're working at Shepperton, which is I now know where it is, it's about a 40-something minute train ride out of the city. Do you stay in London and then get driven there each day, or do you train yourself?
Yeah, I mean, they just pick you up, a few hours before you, and they drive you down. That's the same for most of the studios. I think I don't know if you were doing Bond or something, and you're up at Pinewood for 6 months, then you probably live in a little hotel nearby. It all depends where you live in London, I think, but they certainly, they just drive you home.
Okay, that's a completely off-the-wall question. Jumping into this film.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Fantastic movie. This one. Just fantastic. Yeah. And Tom Ford's direction is great. It's just one of those films that I'd heard a lot of buzz about, and I wasn't sure, will it live up to the buzz, but in fact, it was better. It was just great. When you were first approached for the material, was this an immediate yes for you, or could you just talk a little bit? I know you spoke at the mini press conference downstairs, but for the people watching, could you just talk about meeting Tom for the first time, getting attached to the project, and how passionate he was for the material, and some backstory?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I wasn't working at the time. I hadn't worked in a little bit, and which is for a reason. I just nothing had really come along that really interested me, I suppose, a huge amount, and so I got approached, and I was sort of like, well, that's interesting. Tom Ford, and already Colin and Julianne were on board. So he has a place in London, so he invited me out to Claridge's, and I sat down, had a couple of drinks, and I loved the story, and I thought I thought it was such a great role for Colin anyway, and I think I didn't have a huge amount of scenes in it, but it was interesting to me. But the scenes seemed quite undramatic, and that was one of the great things about meeting Tom was him explaining that there was a sort of beauty in the banality of those memories, and that they served a real purpose and a leveler to understand the beauty that George and Jim had in their relationship. It was very simple and the same as a heterosexual relationship, which is it's that thing we've been talking about today. At the moment, it's being known now as this extraordinarily gay film, which is not what Tom set out to do. It's a book that he beautifully adapted, and he, it's very different from the book. I think there's a lot of things that he's added of his own accord, which are slightly autobiographical for him, and just devices to make the book more accessible, and to allow us to understand what he's going through. And so when I heard him, effectively, this whole project, not the film, is a love poem to his partner Richard, who he's been together with for a similar amount of time as George and Jim have been together in the book. And so I think it was a very easy decision. I felt quite honoured to be asked, and it was, again, as an actor, it was something slightly different, I think, to stuff I've done before, or not necessarily super challenging, but one that I just really wanted to be involved in, and it was kind of just seemed really interesting.
I found it, obviously it's about a gay relationship, but I think that anyone would relate to this who's been in love, and
Absolutely.
I mean, it is just a love story between two people.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that he doesn't go so far in showing the sexuality, perhaps, I think works for the story. I'm curious if it works for you, but also just one part two. Yeah. I think it's almost a little bit more accessible to, say, the real right-wing people, the conservatives, to maybe see this, because they're not going to be, really, it's not going to be graphic.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of trying to. You put it much more eloquently than I put it downstairs, but there are certain images, where it's like where the boys are playing tennis. There is, it's a bit like Bruce Weber. He's going to shoot the male form. Whenever you see photographs of his, but there's a you discover the sort of beauty in that. It's like going to watch ballet. You like the women are very beautiful, but it's the physique of the men that's extraordinary. They've been perfectly happy to have been in to have been naked, or not necessarily. I think it would have put the audience off if there was a scene of two men fucking, effectively. It's what they do. It's very normal. It's as normal as, people making love when they're in love is pretty fucking normal, like, to me. Gay, straight, whatever. There's obviously a different science to how it happens. But yeah, I agree. It's accessible. And I lost the train of my thought really on that one, but.
Well, I'll interject.
Yeah.
Quick. There's a Jim Carrey movie coming out called I Love You, Philip Morris. Yeah. And there is a very graphic sex scene with Jim Carrey. But it's being played for basically comedy. Okay. Not, this is a very serious film about a serious relationship and, about love. And his is being played totally for comedy, and I think I think that mainstream audiences, this is just me, I'm sure are more forgiving of laughing about, having a funny moment rather than being a serious love kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think, in the other context in which people feel uncomfortable, I think. So no, I agree with you. I think with the nature of the relationship and the nature of the fact that most of it is told as like in a memory play, you see it seems much more tender to see two men kiss in the way that we kiss in it, rather than something which seems so aggressive and foreign to a lot of other people. So I think it really works.
No, definitely. What I also